Hello, I'm here in Kyiv, Ukraine, for the Yalta European Security Conference, an event that happens every year. The conference brings together a lot of people who are interested in the question of European security. So my center at Stanford, the Center on Democracy, Development, and the Rule of Law, has had a number of programs helping to train mid-career Ukrainian young leaders. This has gone on really with special intensity since 2014. We have what used to be the Draper Hills, now the Fisher Family Summer Fellows Program. We have the Ukrainian Emerging Leaders Program. One of the remarkable things about being in Kyiv this far into the full-scale war is how normal the place is. People are going to restaurants, to cafes, going to work every day. There's a big division between people that are actively fighting on the front lines and civilians that are leading relatively normal lives in Kyiv and other Ukrainian cities, not in Kharkiv and places close to the Donbass, but certainly here in the capital city. This is the area in front of the Foreign Ministry and the Intercontinental Hotel where the conference is held. There are a number of exhibits here, including a lot of Russian military equipment that has been destroyed and brought here on display. We began to invest in younger Ukrainians several years ago because we believed that Ukraine was really at the forefront of a global struggle over democracy. So we are approaching another part of St. Sophia, a separate cathedral. The statue that is covered up there is of Bogdan Khmelnytsky, who was a Ukrainian hetman, or a kind of warlord, who at one point decided to align Ukraine with Russia rather than in a conflict with Poland. Vladimir Putin keeps referring to this as an excuse for invading Ukraine, saying that this shows that Ukraine was actually always part of Russia. These are pictures commemorating different Ukrainian soldiers that had been killed since the beginning of the full-scale invasion in February of 2022. The personal cost to Ukrainians has been enormous. Virtually everyone has a brother, father, son that has been killed or wounded. This is one of the reasons that we've been supportive of Ukraine, because as many people have noted, this is not simply a territorial issue between two countries. This is a struggle over a larger European order. It's very clear that Putin wants to revive as much of the former Soviet Union as possible. And if Ukraine is defeated in this war, it's not just going to be Ukraine. He's going to go on to Moldova, to Georgia, to the Baltic states, to other parts of the former Soviet Union and beyond. He's already sent troops to Syria, to Venezuela, to every other part of the world that involves a dictatorship where he can counter what he regards as malign Western influence. And this is the reason that this is a global struggle over democracy. At the end of our conference, it was very clear that Ukraine is in grave danger and needs a lot of help. While we were there, Vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance announced the so-called Trump peace plan, which would basically involve ceding to Moscow the land that they had conquered since February 2022 and abjuring any kind of security guarantee from NATO or from the United States or from the West, which would then allow Putin to resume the war at any point he felt strong enough to do so. That's the future that awaits Ukraine if the Republicans win in November. But the Ukrainians were also unhappy with the Biden administration because the latter had put a lot of restrictions on the use of American weapons, like the long-range ATACMS. They're not allowed to use them against Russian targets on Russian soil out of what I believe is a misplaced fear of escalation. The Ukrainians have already crossed quite a number of supposed red lines with no Russian reaction, and I think that the threat to escalate to nuclear weapons at this point is simply a bluff. And unless Ukraine is able to strike back at Russia and inflict some real damage on targets inside Russia itself, there's no way of deterring these continuing Russian attacks with Kinzhal ballistic missiles, glide bombs, and Iranian Shahed drones. So there's a lot of work still to be done if Ukraine's future is to be secured, and the West, and particularly the United States, has really got to step up to the responsibility of truly helping Ukraine to defend itself. Thanks very much for listening.